The idea for spiritual man has been building over quite a number of years. I've always been interested in that sort of thing. I have a science background. Spiritual man actually itself was the result of my doodling one day and thinking about what could happen if negative dimensions existed, when I suddenly found that mathematically the results led me to believe that everything that we perceive, everything that we can see, is not necessarily the whole picture. And when I could see it in black and white in front of me, I had that eureka feeling. We've always been told the real truth. This is where the religious the side of things come into it. But it's just that people haven't been interpreting it correctly. When Plato said that there was a two-part universe, he had no real proof of this. When Immanuel Kant said the same thing, he called it transcendental, the other side of the equation. When Newton looked at things, he just thought it was the ether. I believe I'm the first person to actually demonstrate that the universe not only is a duality, by mathematical necessity, it has to be so. It can't be any other way. And this is validating the very, very first statement in the Bible. In the beginning, heavens and earth were created. A duality. A lot of what has gone on before has been useful, but as Stephen Hawking demonstrated, he gave up the theory of everything because the science world is going into a cul-de-sac. It needs a new start, and I believe my ideas should kick-start the scientific community into thinking of other ideas. As far as the religions are concerned, I believe that my theories demonstrate that a creator God is untenable, but that's not the end for the churches. And I believe that the churches can continue, but not following a superstition, following a creator God that doesn't exist, but by looking at the principal figures that have moved the earth, people like Moses, people like the Buddha, people like Jesus, and many others, even Mother Teresa, people that have goodness in their heart. And I think the churches should not keep pointing to the scriptures as the be-all and end-all. They don't need the Ten Commandments. What the churches need to do is follow the golden rule, which was given by Jesus. Do unto others as you would have others do unto you. That is all you need. If you look back at all the time after writing became used, people began to write down their histories, and these include the stories that we include in the Bible. But that's not the only one. There was an outbreak of religions in a line from Babylon all the way to China along the silk routes and the spice routes. So all these religions all have some sort of duality as the start of the world or the makeup of the world. But science seems to have ignored it. I just don't understand why they've put it to one side. So all this circumstantial, if you like, evidence from ancient writings is the first prop I would turn to. The second prop is the paradoxes that have not been solved by science, even though in a day when we have multi-billion-pound CERN, they still haven't answered the paradox of time, the here and now. And the reason I think is because science has been following the wrong direction. I'll tell you one example. In not any account I can find of the creation of the universe can I find any mention of a huge cataclysmic explosion, anything that might be described as the Big Bang. And yet scientists poo-poo that argument and continue to follow a line of science based almost entirely on the premise that there is a Big Bang. I just say, why? I think people should read this because it answers many of the unanswered questions of the world. For the simple reason, for those that have asked, it answers some of the questions that God, for instance, never gave. Well, I show you how it's possible in this book. And for the scientists that keep on coming up with new and new theories, the Daily Mail is full every day. They're all floundering around. Nobody has got any real direction. Nobody knows. I give you the answers in my book. That's as simple as that. You can believe it or not. But I believe that if you want to have a different look on how our universe is created and how our universe works, please have a look at my book.